Hi, guys. Good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. For those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your subscriptions. I greatly appreciate them. This is the daily reading for all signs for Monday, November 22nd, 11:22. Nice numbers there for the date. If you're seeing it on any other day other than November 22nd, that's fine. You can still use the reading. Maybe it's found its way to you in the time that it's supposed to rather than the date it was originally created for. So there's flexibility with these dailies. If you happen to see it on a date that's not the day that is particular to you, there still might be a message in whatever comes through in the cards. And if it does feel like it resonates, then please feel free to take it with you and utilize it to the best of your ability. For those of you that are new, please check out the drop-down menu underneath any of the daily videos. And there's some housekeeping rules and things I want you to know about when using the channel. And please feel free to hit the thumbs up button if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it out with your friends. Leave a question or comment, stuff like that. All that sort of stuff. Let me know if the content is ringing true, so to speak. All right, so let's see what we've got going on in the cards today. I'm having a hard time looking up. It's really cold and gray out, and it's making me want to stay in the bed. It's like really, and the dog woke me up 4 times last night. We have the Five of Cups. We've seen this card before. The Five of Cups, it's interesting. We start off the week. Yesterday's reading for the week was the Five of Swords, right? And to me, fives are always about transition or change. So they're temporary in a way. There's always a shift that's happening with the five, right? And the Five of Swords is about sort of maybe not saying the thing we feel the need to say or regretting saying the thing we needed to say to prove our point, because it can sometimes be sort of lonely at the top in a way. And to me, this is a little bit of that, not that vibe, but it's that sort of forlorn feeling, that sadness, emotions creeping up uh, around us, right? And us only being able to focus on maybe what's not working rather than what is, right? There's always this depiction of 3 cups being spilled over and 2 cups behind the gentleman um, full, and he can only see what's spilled or what's broken, right? And so oftentimes we're not able to see the full picture when we're in the Five of Cups because we're caught up in our emotions, and we're not able to see that even though some area of our life may be getting at us emotionally or not necessarily working for us, we might feel restrained or unable to be at peace with a certain area of our life. That's the only area we tend to focus on, right? And we don't look at what is actually working for us. We don't see that there's still movement and change happening. That would be like this river or lake behind him. The interesting thing too is the rope that binds him. That's not necessarily a Five of Swords image thing to me, but it does tie in. I mean, sorry, Five of Cups, but it does tie into the Five of Swords with those ropes that were crossing him. Again, I feel like we're restrained. I feel this idea or this feeling of like, maybe we're not allowed to say how we feel today, and there might be a reason for that. That reason might be valid, right? In the sense that maybe we're trying not to hurt somebody, maybe we're trying not to um, get into a fight or make things worse, or maybe we're not sure if we speak up and say our piece, will it cause more trouble than it would? And I think that's sort of the transition that these fives are presenting to us, because the Five of Swords underneath this says, like, if I get up in my emotions and I express myself, I could end up maybe saying too much, or maybe getting myself into trouble, or revealing too much about myself or how I really feel or my vulnerabilities. And that might make me, it might get me in trouble, or it might, further exacerbate an already sort of trying situation for you. Does that make sense? And so I kind of feel like, the Five of Cups is usually self-imposed anyways, because it's sort of like this card about what we choose to focus on emotionally is what we're going to experience and feel. And so we don't necessarily see that some things are good in our lives, even if there's one area that's going wrong, right? We want to be aware that we can also take our cups and flip them back over and fill them right there at the river or the lake, right? That's always the depiction, even in a traditional tarot card, is the river is still flowing behind us. Life is still moving around us, even if we're sort of stuck in the emotions around a particular situation, person, or thing, right? And if you guys are feeling emotional or let down, there's a serious sadness to this card. Um, I just want to say that I do think it will change, it will shift, but we need to maybe sit with it. We want to not avoid it. We want to not sort of distract ourselves from it. We may just have to sit with it and sort of to help us to better sort of understand it, right? Whatever's going on between the connection of, like, say, our emotions and our mind right now, and how we're sort of maybe processing things. Are we feeling as though we're I don't know, like able to say what we need to? Are we in a safe enough space? Have we created a safe enough space for ourselves to express ourselves in a way that's productive? I kind of get a feeling that the answer to that question would be no. And I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. I just think that's sort of the situation at hand. And I don't think that these cards are telling us to get all worked up or go about changing it. I kind of get this feeling that we're being asked to sort of sit with it, understand it, maybe see how we've had a hand in potentially creating it, right? There's something to be learned here, I feel like, too, because we end out the week on the Hierophant. So there's some deep wisdom that we're going to get out of this experience, even if it feels uncomfortable or restrictive. Here is the uh, Urban Crow Oracle. It's trickery. So we've got one crow hiding a pebble from another crow, right? And I've read this story before, and it does talk about how crows are intelligent and oftentimes able to, you know, they hide things from one another. And also, I the first time I saw this card, it gave me a bit of Seven of Swords vibes, and she does hearken to the Seven of Swords, right? In the book, in the actual description for the Urban Crow Oracle, and we had the Seven of Swords in the midweek of last week, and it makes as the underpinning energy. So it makes me feel like we might still be dealing with, say, maybe whatever that situation was or that person was or their behavior or how that situation is playing out. It's not all up front, right? It's not, and maybe that's the restraint that we're feeling with the fives of, cups and swords today, is that maybe we're unsure because we know something's not right. We can feel it in our gut with either the person or the situation at hand or whatever we're worried about, and hence why we're kind of holding back. I've been getting this feeling for, like, I would say, since the King of Swords of last week. And it's interesting that we started with swords. We had the King and the Seven of Swords in last week, and the Ace of Swords. It was all mental last week, right? And this week it's kicking off with the Five of Swords. We're still sort of caught in that, what do I say? When do I say it? How do I say it? Without, I don't know if it's like shooting myself in the foot or without, offending others, or there's this sort of, the good thing about this, I'm going to say, is that I feel like we're aware something's not right, right? And I don't mean, you know, like we're being cautious. I get a definite sort of like cautiousness with this gentleman in the Five of Cups. Like, if we are to move forward, we need to figure out and sort out our thoughts and our feelings first and foremost, because I feel like we're aware of this trickery that's going on, or this Seven of Swords potential. Not like everything doesn't necessarily seem, everything isn't as it seems. Does that make sense? And that could even be with us, right? Within ourselves. Like, we might be feeling overly emotional and we understand that. So we're trying not to react because we might overreact or react in a way that doesn't necessarily match what's actually going on. We may not understand how we feel, right? So we're trying to sort that out with the Five of Swords and the Five of Cups today. We also had that card for the week, which was observation, which sort of also feels like this idea of, um, looking at something or letting something tell you what it is before we make a move. And that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. I hope that makes sense, guys. Let's go to the grounding stone. And the grounding stone is the word focus. And I think that part of the reason why we want to ground in this is, what are we focused on? Are we focused on what's working in our life? Or are we focused on what's not working in our life? That's definitely Five of Swords, Five of Cups energy. Um, because if we focus on the cups that are spilled, all we're going to see is disaster, failure, heartache, that sort of thing. But if we focus on what we have or what is working, we might be able to think outside of the box, or be able to shift our energy, our thoughts, and uplift ourselves in a way and change that energy or that focus in a way that's positive. Does that make sense? Ultimately, I think, and it's interesting, focus shows up too because we have the Eight of Pentacles in the middle of the week, which is also very much a card about intricate detail and focus, and um, paying attention to detail, right? So I feel like the cards are calling out for us to sit with ourselves, to understand ourselves better. Um, I almost want to say this isn't about them or what they did. It's about us and how we react moving forward. And that's more important. And I think that we've realized that somewhere. And that's actually a good thing, although it may not feel great, right? Because the Five of Cups would indicate uh, not feeling well, or self assured, if that makes sense. We're kind of maybe sorting it out and taking this time to do so. Feel free to take that time though, if you need it, right? Because something's not right here with this trickery card, and we know it. Are we fooling ourselves, maybe even? I mean, that could be for some of you. That is your reading for the day, guys. I hope it makes sense. It's really interesting. If we end out on the Hierophant, we're gonna learn something major this week, either about ourselves or about a situation, and we'll be better off and more grounded because of it. But this Taurus full moon is asking us to let go of something we might be having a hard time of releasing our feelings around. And what I didn't know about this Taurus full moon is that it ends in a Sagittarian new moon, which is about expansion and creation, right? And the word for the week is dream. So remember, what we focus on is what we're creating in our life. All right, that is your forecast. Please hit that thumbs up button, leave me a question or comment, subscribe, and share the channel out. You have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye bye.